Big on America.
Okay, let's get to this debate with Dennis Prager. We're going to play this. We're going to pause it.
Are you
a few times?
okay?
I got it. If you,
well, that wasn't what I was going for. I was just going to say, you've watched both him and Anna in their entirety?
No, I haven't watched the whole thing. I got frustrated watching watching the shorter one with Cenk about 3 minutes in, and we'll play that. The way that TYT has it up is they've divided them already, so I'm not sure the whole interview is up in its entirety. It's in like 3 different videos. I'm going to stay away from the Israel-Palestine conversation. I think that they did well in that one, and I'm not like the world's most educated guy on all of those variables. So I'll probably stay away from that particular piece of it unless Mikey tells me not to.
Well, I mean, there's a larger thing, because I texted you like, "Yo, big head, you up?"
Yeah.
And I was like,
I didn't know my head was that big.
I was like, "Did you see the TYT debate?" And you're like, "Oh no, not yet." So I dropped the link or whatever. I watched it because I saw so much Dutch in all of this that I'm surprised you didn't catch. That's why I brought it to your attention.
Well, I'm sure
like all the things I warn you about doing, writ large, like like you're not anywhere near this bad, but they take all the little things that I nitpick you for, and that's what they did the entire time. I took some bullet points here.
I have no notes, but I can tell you this: as I watched through this, it was, and let me just say, I do think that Anna out debated Dennis Prager. I do.
No.
However,
she
did not
failed miserably.
I'm not sure about that, and we'll talk about that as we. At least what I saw, and I already admitted I only watched the first like 13 minutes or so of this. I think it's a little bit longer than that.
Let's define some.
But there was so many things she missed.
Let's define some parameters. What do you call a successful debate? Because this wasn't a debate. First of all,
it's people who would be influenced one way or the other, who had a general opinion of neutral in the beginning.
So the more you would, which presenter would have swayed more people from the middle to their side?
Which presenter?
Like whichever, so that's what I'm saying. Like that's your parameter, like of whether they did.
Yeah, I think that's the fair parameter. That's the fair parameter.
But I'm not that way.
Brent says I'm always blaming the middle. That's because the middle's always to blame. People who don't decide on stuff. Like I'm not talking about Democratic middle. I'm talking about people who don't have an opinion or are neutral on things. Joe Schmo in the middle, who wakes up, normal Americans who wake up and think that, well, Fox News told me that inflation is Joe Biden's fault, so it must be because he's responsible for inflation. That's not the way that it actually works. But if you tell them it's not, they don't believe you because they don't do any research.
So I think what you have described is not. I think what you have described is not debating. Debates have facts. Debates have.
I'm not even sure this was a debate because there was no premise.
Exactly. So there's no premise to it. There's no time allotments. This was a lecture. This was, hey, let's get Dennis Prager on the show and lecture him, because that's what the middle looking like the neutral group. That's what they saw. They saw TYT bring this poor old white guy onto their show. He looks so friendly. He's like a neighbor. And they just yelled at him. So but that's the thing. You're talking about winning people from the middle, and optics are very important.
Hi, Amy.
How you present yourself is very important. So I'll ask you again: do you think they swayed people out of the middle with how they performed, or how Anna performed?
With that direct of a question, no, I don't. That's why we're here. That's why I was infuriated, right? Like, I mean, she was correct factually, but persuasiveness is a different story.
I don't even know. There's so many wrongs here. Like I was gonna actually take notes line by line. I can't. Every fucking sentence is stupid.
All
And
right,
I
well,
love them, but they did a bad job.
I no, I totally agreed with that. Again, as of what I saw. So let's this will beginning through the whole thing. Just going to take a minute. This is what 28 minutes. So let's get to it.
We ache to have them on our shows.
No, you don't.
We ache to debate them, but they won't debate us and they won't come on our shows and they won't have us on their shows. I have offered tens of thousands of dollars to any left-wing columnist on the New York Times to debate me anywhere they want. They could choose the moderator. They could choose the audience, and serious money.
Joining us now is Dennis Prager, the man you just saw in that video.
Dutch.
And Dennis, I guess you could call TYT.
Make sure you like take breaks and just don't play it for like over, you know what I mean? Don't just play it.
So let's comment on that part first. Fuck what Dennis Prager is aching for. Okay.
Who says ache? Oh, that's so cringe. That's such an old person word. I ache for this.
He's gonna make a comment here. This part I did here. He's gonna make a comment here in a second. Actually, let's let him make this comment because it's a fucking disgusting comment.
I ache for this.
Acetaminophen, because we don't want you to ache. We want to make sure we give you an opportunity to feel good by debating someone on the left.
Funny, 'cause I was thinking if only you were a New York Times columnist, how much money you'd be making now.
Well, I'm a little more honest than a New York Times columnist, so.
So that's your qualifier. So that's your qualifier for who you're going to pay.
They don't need
his
not money.
Not the substance of the debate, not the size of the audience. That doesn't matter. It's got to be someone from the New York Times.
I think that's who he particularly had the thing out for. Without them being, I think he wanted a New York Times person because he was talking to New York Times people.
The New York Times is a relatively conservative organization. Of course he wants to. I mean, they would probably concede to him on 80% of his points.
But they didn't want to debate him because he's a fucking nutter butter. He's far out there. He's got that very Mr. Rogers as an old man thing going, but yeah, he's a fucking nutter butter.
The first thing is like, look, if I'm going to debate someone of the size of this guy, or even have a conversation of the size of Dennis Prager, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll do it, and it's got to stream in both places because my audience is not going to be the only one subjected to the alternate side. Yours is too. Simple. I'm not just going to sit there and let you, push your ideas on my audience. I also get to do the same. And TYT, for whatever reason, didn't ask for that, or Prager declined. We don't know what happened behind the scenes.
They doesn't have to.
But what's that?
There's editing. What do you mean? They don't have to be on the same feed. They don't have to come out at the same time. He's gonna get all that footage. It's customary for people to send.
Well, yeah, but I don't want him to put up his edited footage of his hot takes or his out of context bullshit.
That's First Amendment. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with the agreement that you make prior to of how you will stream it. He said we can choose the audience. I want your audience.
I think you're biting too deeply into the apple.
That's where the best juice is.
What?
The best juice is in the middle.
Hit play.
Right. See, Brent, I do like the middle. Here we go.
This will be a great conversation. Thank you for doing it. So I wanted
Thank you for having.
My pleasure. So I wanted to just kind of start off with, I guess, disagreeing with the notion that the left is afraid.
Just quickly, his chair. How much do you think that chair costs?
It was free at a dentist office nearby who retired. Like that is like the most dentisty, lawyery chair I've ever seen.
Like he's just got to be like in the lap of luxury at all times. But anyway,
it's like it's 1960s luxury. Like, he's so old.
You know, and he does sort of he sort of favors Bernie just a little.
Stop.
He kind of does.
Stop.
He kind of does. He's got the only difference is his hair is combed, and he's probably a little bit more handsome than Bernie. To be honest, you know, and better dressed. But maybe it's just an old white guy thing.
Just because you're in love with this man, don't mean you need to gesticulate
yeah,
over him.
I'm in love with
right
him
now.
right.
Like
Bernie or this guy or Prager.
Both. Apparently, you got some stuff you need to work out. You're going into a lot of detail over
those are
these
weird
two
bedfellows.
gentlemen. Stop talking about them if you don't love them so much. Why don't you marry him?
I will.
Afraid to have.
I would make him the bottom.
Stop.
These kinds of discussions or debates. In fact, you had tweeted that video that we started this conversation with, and there were a lot of responses from prominent individuals on the left. I want to give you a few examples, starting with Vosh, who's a big Twitch streamer. He's got a big YouTube channel as well. He says, "You couldn't be more wrong. I love spirited debate in the free marketplace of ideas." He even provided his email and would love to have that conversation with you. My good friend Ben Burgess also responded. He's a great guy. He says, "Hi Dennis, I'd be delighted to chat with you either on my show or you could host it through PragerU, or I'm sure Modern Day Debate or some other neutral platform would be happy to host it." And on
is it me or is she like blaring in my ears? I don't know. It might just be my headphones. What up, Tim?
I don't know, listeners. Do you think it's a little loud? I can turn it down.
It's just a little. Because it's double your volume easily. Like you sound fine to me, but she sounds really loud.
Let's see here.
Right next to the play button on the left.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And shout out to Jim at Modern Day Debate.
How's this?
I'm friends
multiple
with
occasions, I noticed that Sam Cedar would also love to.
Better? A little bit more? Yeah, just do a little bit more. Yeah, I don't know why. She's just cranking.
To debate you. So he responded in that tweet as well, saying available and adding, Tim Pool knows what lengths he would go to not even be on the same stage as me. Right, Tim?
Okay, that's true. I would love this. Now Sam Cedar? I'd be down for that one.
Tim says fuck Tim Pool.
Yeah, he always gets his fuck Tim Pool.
That's right.
Well, that's because Tim is Tim. That's, you know, we're not telling anybody that.
And he verified that I'm not tripping. It was loud. Okay, cool. I was like, damn, dude, is it me or fucking Lou?
Well, I turned it down now, so you can all keep your
my ears on. My ears were like twitching involuntarily. I was like, God.
You were twitching on Twitch? How interesting.
I do that.
Well, hello to everyone in the chat. All right, so let me see.
Or Jesse Dollamore. Or
I'm gonna skip a second ahead here. Because what they're talking about now is like unimportant. It's like debating the left.
You know, I was in the middle of a sentence when you did that. That was crazy.
What's that?
I was in the middle of a sentence when you just started doing that. That's crazy. Can you not hear me?
No, I could hear you.
Oh, okay. Just went over me anyway. Cool.
Finish your statement, Mr.
I don't know. It's good, but we're literally having a debate during a debate.
Yes.
So that's one of the main things I wrote down is letting people bury themselves, and they wouldn't stop interrupting him while he was burying himself. It was so frustrating. But go on with your Borophyll.
And people like you, for example, you pleasantly surprised me by doing this, to be perfectly honest. And by the way, I think proof of my theory is a piece that I read on some left-wing or progressive site just today about how angry many of your viewers are that you're having me on. Whereas I will tell you, I would get no such feedback from the right if I had a left-wing person on my show.
Okay, so that piece of it right there, I think he is correct. And you know, you've shared this sentiment before too. You agree with that statement, I would imagine, right?
No.
That the people on the left don't get angry when we went by quote platforming bad ideas.
No, it depends on how you do it. If you bring on, because he's not going to say, me and my good friend Anna are going to have a debate about such and such. No. He says, it's Dennis Prager oppones the libs. TYT harlot dismantled on stream. Like, you know what I mean? They always fucking like, no, because you don't frame it as you're bringing someone on for a debate. You frame it as, look, I beat this person up. And both sides do it. So no, they're both guilty of the same shit. Fuck him.
Yeah, well, I'll agree with the fuck him part.
He just makes shit up. Like, that's why I hate about this guy so much. He literally just says shit. He just makes shit up. He just says it. Has no idea what he's talking about.
All right, they're still talking about debating the left here. I don't want to hear that part. Let's jump to, but this fucking piece of shit. All right, so this guy, this part of it was interesting. Let's go here to where he's talking about what's his name? I was going to say Joe Rogan.
Just hit play. Just hit play.
I forget the dude's name.
Discussions with you, discussions with the right wing, and you stated something very specific. I actually want to go to that video and I want to get your thoughts. Maybe you can elaborate on what you meant in this video. Let's watch.
I want you to continue to say you're a liberal because you're of great use to good values.
Well, don't worry, I'm not doing it for your use of me. I'm doing it for myself.
No. It's like Christians who say to me, you know, oh, we would love you to come to Christ, but you are so valuable to us as a Jew when you defend us Christians. Yeah. And they're right. You are valuable in the best sense of the word because America needs people who are clearly liberal and to be honest.
What's this dude's name again? I can't forget. I can't remember.
They're going to say it if you just hit play.
Dave Rubin. That's what it is.
And fall into the category of kosher as gay to say, hey, hello, the conservatives are not hate mongers. Hello, they should be heard. And maybe every so often you should read National Review or watch a PragerU video.
Oh, we watch them.
No, you watch them.
Yeah, it doesn't go well for them.
So, Mr. Prager, you can understand why members of the left would feel a little uneasy when these discussions take place, because usually it's a sign that someone on the left got lured in with some billionaire cash, like Dave Rubin did.
Okay. Well, that's an unfair statement. I don't accuse people on the left of having their positions because of money, and I don't think you should do that with regard to conservatives. Alan Dershowitz.
What does that have to do with anything?
Nothing.
And that's the first trick, everyone. He is the pivot master. He's done debate teams for probably 45,000 years because he's very old. He pivots on every single question. He pivots, and they're so hopped up, and the lights are on, and the camera's rolling. They never catch it. They ask him several questions, and he never answers them. And then instead, they talk about what he wants to talk about.
Right.
And they never catch it.
And in the Cenk part, which we may not get to, that made me flip out, bro, because Prager made a point, and I forget what the point was about. And TYT had
are we going to talk about that later?
Titled the video. So, well, yeah, I guess we'll probably be able to get to that. Yeah. I don't have forever today, but we'll try to get to that one. All right, let's go.
Go back. Go back like 5 seconds. Just go back like 5 seconds.
All right.
So you guys can.
I also love how they'll bring up people like Dave Rubin and Alan Dershowitz and advertise them as if they're liberals.
Why don't they advertise us?
Yeah, talk to a real liberal.
Put us up there.
Yeah.
Since you're just putting anybody, just any old body up there, put us up there. Shit.
Yeah, let me talk to Alan Dershowitz, who identifies as a liberal, but will agree with me on 70% of topics. Right. But see, he's on the other side. He disagrees with me. No, he agrees with you more often than he disagrees with you.
I'm just saying, if y'all not gonna do no research anyway, why don't you just put us up there? Shit.
This is so infuriating.
Some billionaire cash, like Dave Rubin did.
She's right about that, by the way.
Okay. Well,
Rubin did sell out.
That's an unfair statement. I don't accuse people on the left of having their positions because of money.
Sure you do.
And I don't think you should do that with regard to conservatives.
In fact, he'll do that in a little while.
Alan Dershowitz is not a right winger, but Alan Dershowitz has said to me, this Harvard professor who's very well known, He's lost all his friends because he defended Donald Trump in court. He didn't even vote for Donald Trump. Just merely
Not relevant.
He could have refused the case.
The guy likes money, but it's still not relevant.
defending his right to have a defense was enough for him to lose his friends.
Which proves to you there that he's not a anyway.
So his friend was the only lawyer left in America, and it was either him or Trump would have not been able to be would have not been able to have his constitutional right to representation in court. It would have been stripped away, but for his friend, the only person that could have done it, because he's the last lawyer on the planet.
Then they should thank the left. The last lawyer who was
that guy he lost all of his friends because I'm sure he's passed on other cases, but he didn't pass on this one.
I wonder why.
Go buy some friends, bitch.
Where'd my play button go? There it is.
Just hit the space bar like an adult.
The assumption on the left is that if you're a conservative, you're a despicable human being. And
which is true.
This is a perfect example. The only reason Dave Rubin would have done it was for money. I don't know anybody on my side of the spectrum who holds their positions because of money.
You do.
There's a hell of a lot.
You never heard of Candace Owens?
Candace Owens is on Prager U.
Yeah.
Him.
How has he not heard of her?
How has he not heard of him? Him is the person. He said stuff for money. Him.
Well, what he said was he changes his position because of money, but
he does.
Like Dave Rubin was, if you follow the Dave Rubin progression, now Candace Owens' progression came in like a day, right? So hers was completely obvious and fake. I think she started to believe her own silliness, but with Rubin always had conservative leanings. He also had liberal leanings. What he found was that his audience was more interested in him because he was propagating conservative ideas. So because he saw that the more he talked about conservative ideas, much like Joe Rogan, the more people flocked to him as to his platform. You're seeing this also right now with Russell Brand, right? When people who have who have like this split mind frame of, I've got these 6 or 7 places where I'm liberal, these 6 or 7 places where I'm conservative, but I also happen to not care for Trump. Then people say, well, look, he's the polar opposite of anything that conservative ideology would paint him as. So, but he actually agrees with us. No, he doesn't. He doesn't. He agrees with you. He agreed with you on stuff already and started talking more and more about things that they would want, that conservatives would want to hear because they see their ratings go up. Because conservatives follow their people online who support their ideas. Liberals don't. That's a sad fact. And it's provable in a lot of ways, even anecdotally. Like if you look at like what you see in Twitter spaces, I could start a Twitter space that says, disproving election fraud. And then you could have another one that says the opposite. That's a conservative space. 7 people in ours, 700 in the other. They flock to their ideas. And they support their creators. And they love when new ones are added. Russell Brand's followers have doubled. Dave Rubin's followers have well more than doubled. And Candace Owens went from nothing to being famous. All for the exact same thing. They're show ponies. Maybe not in the case of Russell Brand, but in the case of Dave Rubin and Candace Owens, they're show ponies. Black person who loves us, gay person who loves us.
Maybe don't use animal references when there's people of color involved. Just a heads up.
But that's what she is. They're ponying her around.
Stop. You're not meaning it in that kind of way, but it is what it is.
Oh,
you shouldn't compare black people to fucking animals, period. So I'm trying to let you out easy and you're not taking it. Don't do that to us. We don't like that. Even if you don't like those people.
I don't like her.
Yes.
Anyway.
But you don't think that she's an animal.
on the left anyway.
Really?
If you want to get money,
Really?
yeah, oh,
How is
yeah,
PragerU
who bought the
funded?
Washington Post?
How is
Who bought
PragerU
the
funded?
Washington Post? by people on the internet and by wealthy donors. But PragerU is pittance compared to the money that is available just to BLM. How much money was given to Black Lives Matter by the Ford
Not by
Foundation
billionaire
or the
donors.
Pivot.
What? They always go to the same thing. They go to Black Lives Matter.
Which has nothing to do with anything.
Oh, Black Lives Matter, bad.
How is your place funded? Well, how's Black Lives Matter funded? Like, what are you talking about?
I didn't realize that Black Lives Matter was a media organization.
They are. You didn't know? They have a big channel. Real big channel.
It's like, and like, who is like they will sit there and pretend that like George Soros is funding Black Lives Matter. Now, it's probably true. I wouldn't doubt that Open Society made contributions to them, but that's not the same thing as funded by. Right?
Right.
Funded by is like, this episode of Sesame Street is funded by,
The letter
XYZ
B.
company today, or the letter X, right? That's
The letter $sign.
It's if we're funded by something, we're funded by them. That's, I suppose, technically what he's saying would be correct, but that's not the way that he means it. What he means is that they're funneling money into that organization as some sort of propaganda arm. That's what he means. And that's what people on the right hear. And she completely decided to not bring that up. Now, she is right. Most of the money that went to Black Lives Matter came from small grassroots funding.
Why is she? But that's the thing. Why is she playing this game? It has nothing to do with Rick Rubin.
Dave
Or
Rubin, yeah.
Dave Rubin. Like, it has nothing to do with that. Like, she's so off
Or Rick
base.
Ross.
Rubin stuttered. Like, there's like, this is like the worst debating I've ever seen, because it's just talking past, and it doesn't work. She's making us look bad. Her and Cenk. I won't just put it on her. Cenk probably worse, because he fell for like the biggest bait ever.
Cenk was pathetic.
He fell
Anna,
He fell for the oldest trick in the book.
And I've seen Anna debate like Ben Shapiro before. She did marvelously. So I don't know why she took this day off, but anyway.
They certainly received quite a bit of money from individuals who wanted to donate to that cause.
Okay.
But if you think there's a lot of money on the left, I mean, you would be mistaken. But I do want to move off this because there are actual topics, issues that are worth discussing.
The richest zip codes vote Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
The wealth today in America is
Hold on.
disproportionate.
Okay, what he's saying right now is false.
Like, what? Also, what does that have to do with anything?
It's first of all, it's what he just said is true and false. This conservatives love doing this. What he is implying is that rich people are liberals. So this is multifaceted. Okay. First of all, polling has shown that the median income for conservative voters is slightly higher than that of Democrat voters. The fact that he gave is true. The wealthiest zip codes are liberal zip codes because San Francisco is very liberal, and it's the wealthiest zip code, I think, in the country. And Manhattan probably up there too, right?
And
also,
then you have Chicago, LA, Miami.
Chicago and LA are not the wealthiest zip codes, though.
In the area?
No, the LA would not be among the wealthiest zip codes. There's a wide disparity of income levels within LA, I think would drive that median income down. But San Francisco certainly has a higher median income level than LA.
You're missing my larger point. The large cities will have the wealthier zip codes. And those large cities tend to be Democratic.
Right. That is also true.
Yeah, that's why it's like Chicago, LA, Miami, like even like Cleveland inside Ohio, St. Louis inside Missouri, like the big cities tend to be more liberal.
Right. Though a lot of time, but though it's also an assumption to believe that because you have, even in San Francisco, right? You have conservatives in San Francisco. What I would say 25% of 30% of the population of San Francisco is conservative. They live in a liberal area, so they have liberal politicians, but that doesn't mean they're not conservative. Number one. And number two, their idea of like, he's talking about like, oh, well, you know, Jeff Bezos, rich, also liberal. Really? The guy is a raging capitalist. So where on the spectrum of liberal is Jeff Bezos? Elon Musk was the same thing. And he just decided, you know what? I'm not going to vote for Democrats anymore. I'm going to vote for Republicans now. And that's a really, really good litmus test there, because he's so Bezos, Musk, and I don't want to speak for them as being some sort of monolith, but generally speaking, their ideology is so close to what might be conservative that jumping over that 2 inches and voting for the other party isn't that big of an ideological jump. You know, so it's very misleading. Like Bezos might say, you know, I like Biden, but that doesn't mean if you check mark off all of the things, is he for universal health care? Of course he's not. Is he for unions? Of course Bezos isn't for unions. Is he for, you know, some things that are that may be considered liberal? Like, is he for pro-choice? Yes. But that doesn't mean that he's a liberal because he didn't like Trump and he's pro-choice. You know, so they're purposely mislabeling very, very, very centrist people as being these raging liberals.
We got a lot to go through, and he's going to do that about 100 more times. I didn't want to like push you off your point, but you're going to make that point like 10 more times in like the next 2 clips.
Promise I won't.
Okay.
On behalf of Democrats and the left wing, that's either a fact or not. Anybody could look it up.
There's a difference between voters.
Just looked it up for you.
In wealthy parts of the country and who ends up serving as donors, both for politicians, corporate politicians, of course, and for right-wing media. If you think left-wing media has major billionaire donors, again, you'd sadly be mistaken. But the information regarding PragerU, which, by the way, you're listed as an organization that's tax exempt, correct? And you're not supposed to be talking about political issues. But last time I checked, PragerU talks about a lot of political issues.
Well, then you have.
You see the look on his face? He flipped, his eyes go up to the, watch this. Where are we at 8:23? Let's go back to 8:17. Watch his eyes.
Check, PragerU talks about a lot of political issues.
Well, then you haven't checked in the law.
What do they say about when people put their eyes up and to the left?
That stuff is not admissible in court, but it means that they're being deceptive. It would be really hard for TYT to get a screenshot of the playlist from PragerU to have that on screen.
He's going to make a point here, and let me dismantle his point after he makes it.
Hold on.
Sure.
Hold on. I mean, this is what I mean. It was a kerfuffle. This is their website. This is their YouTube page. What's that say? Was the very first? Was the very first playlist is political science? The very first one. All they had to do was look on their website. Just look. And it's like, well, what about the political science playlist on your website? Point made. Point made. A little bit of homework. Point made. And you're done. You move to the next point. Boom. You say you're a nonprofit. You're not supposed to talk about politics. I don't talk about politics. Here's your playlist on politics. All right. So my next thing is, and you move on. Cook them and move on. I knew that. I was like, he has tons of politics on there. That's bullshit.
He's
what do you
gonna
know?
do it.
It is bullshit.
He's going to do his escapism right now. So here it is.
Long time. For example, we never did a single video on Donald Trump.
Okay, that's your qualifier?
No, because you went on everybody else's show and talked about it.
No, you just talk about the ideals. of
You promote all of his stuff.
right.
Like
And then
church. I mean,
he also said
501c3.
he also said, well, you haven't watched in a long time. So what are you trying to say, Dennis? That you used to be political, but you're not anymore. So you used to violate the terms of your 501c3, but now you don't anymore. You've reformed. So are you going to give back all that, pay all that tax money for the time that you used to do it?
Would you consider Watergate political or historical?
I would consider it right now. I would consider it historical, but certainly at the time, absolutely political.
Amazing History of Christmas.
Political.
Why has the West been so successful?
Mm-hmm.
The Chicago Fire, America at its best. What made George Washington great?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. Where are you, Martin Luther King? Like, come on, man. You didn't have to. Who is Karl Marx?
I'm sure that's a scathing one right there. And so like what he's trying to do here is he's trying to say, oh, well, we are not specifically and directly promoting candidates.
Right, which is not the same thing as being apolitical.
Correct. So you're a liar, Dennis Prager.
I told you that. This is why I don't have to do it. This is why I don't have to watch his show for clips.
So Anna's going to catch that, right? Like she's going to catch that.
Absolutely not.
Let's see her. She's got to catch it.
And that's not exactly political. We just did we put out a video a week. So we have 500 videos out about, and we just put out one on Millard Fillmore.
He's talking about the presidents. The presidents aren't political.
He's going to say that, right?
If you consider that political,
Riveting.
Most people never heard of it. We're doing every single president.
So wait a minute. They
haven't done Obama's yet.
Oh, they will. They'll have a fun time. So because people haven't heard of Millard Fillmore, that makes it not political?
He's a president from when he was a boy.
And I'm sure you're going to talk about all the things that he did that you liked that happened to be conservative ideals.
This is why you do your homework and you nail people to the wall in debates, or else they will go on these weird diatribes about some shit that they are clearly lying about.
I don't even need to know the history of Millard Fillmore to know that's a political conversation. They don't even need to do their homework. She's letting it slide. Why are you letting it slide?
Because she's reading her next thing to read.
But I'm looking on Twitch here, 747 people watching TYT right now, their highest number ever. I've never seen them that high. They're usually in the threes. I always see them in the 3s and 4s.
It depends on what the show is going to be about, because it's easily into like 3-4K sometimes. Depends on what it just.
I haven't seen that. Maybe you're right. But
it depends on what's going on.
But then, to be fair, they also have YouTube. So I mean, I'm just specifically talking about Twitch here. But
their main shit is on YouTube. Let me see.
Right, they're mainly a YouTube channel. You are correct. But Anna, come on, you got to get them back, right?
Many of our videos, probably at least half, are purely educational. So to tell you about every president.
Educational about what? Educating people that conservative politics are better.
There's 7.5 thousand watching on YouTube right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're definitely more of a YouTube.
Yeah.
But am I like, isn't that the point? They're political. They talk about, well, we're an educational channel. They want to educate you,
indoctrinate
on why they think conservative mind frames are better. Why unions are bad. They literally have a video on why unions are bad. It's not called that. You know, they'll call it something mundane like we love right to work states. And then dog on unions the whole time, as if unions are the problem. And then they'll point out stuff, Mikey, like, and this is a point that people, I was in a bad union. Okay.
Me too.
But my union, and yes, you were in the worst fucking union, but guess what?
Most awful union I've ever even heard of.
But I'm sure you will agree. The problems of those two unions that you were in and I were in were not union problems. They're economic problems. They're capitalism problems.
No, they're nepotism problems. They're lack of accountability problems.
Right, which is a symptom of what? Unions?
White people.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, we
father and son, they're like the fucking Targaryens over there, boy. It was running a racket.
There may be some truth there. But like if you would not have corruption within unions if there was not a capitalist system above them.
Oh. I could substitute those words. Every time you say capitalism, I'll just think white people, and it always fits.
It's not technically our creation, okay?
Y'all be claiming it, though.
We just perfected it. All right. It technically started with the market revolution and technically with mercantile trades in, the Arab states, technically speaking, but we took it from the Arabs and made it really, really, really awesome. So
come on with your boy.
President, for example, Democrat or Republican, by some noted historian. It's a caricature of
a noted historian who is also a raging conservative.
Of PragerU. For you to say that we are largely political.
PragerU describes itself as conservative. Like it's a conservative take, which by the nature of it being conservative is political. Yeah. But listen, it is what it is. I do want to move on to other issues because there are actual political issues that you're here to discuss.
You can't make a point and then not let me respond.
All right, pause.
Yeah, we can.
No, that's the thing. Don't invite somebody a adversarial guest on and then not treat them well. Because if you do, then you're the asshole no matter what. All of your points are out the window because you were rude. Remember that neutral group just sees you talking over him and you being a dick. When this guy's plenty stupid enough to fucking bury himself, but she won't get out of the way. As soon as he's about to put his foot in his mouth, she won't get out of the way. You got to cut him off and say, we're going on to the next thing. Like you're lecturing him like you're going off on him. Like that's like how a parent talks to a child who's been naughty. That's going to lose you some points. And then just walked off with the play button. That's cool. Bring it in for now.
I'm back. All right.
Oh, there you go. Just walk off with the play button, why don't you?
Yes, you can be.
That kid knocked on the door.
Conservative, for example, socially and not specifically. Politically generally means vote Republican. We don't tell people to vote anyway in any direction. But yes, we do believe that America is the finest country ever founded. If that makes us political, we're political.
So I want to move on to other statements you've made, other issues. You do focus on culture war related issues, your distaste, hatred for secularism. I want to start off without putting words in your mouth, to show a video of something you said just yesterday.
10 minutes in, and they're finally getting to the first topic.
Yeah, but an hour for us because you want to talk about what they're going to talk about.
Well,
I know you're going to talk about what they talk about while they talk about it.
I talked about a news story for 20 minutes before you were on there, so.
No. It was like 3 minutes. 3 minutes, and I was in the backstage for the last 2. Like, get out of here.
All right.
Today on the Dennis Prager show that I thought was fascinating. So let's take a look at that and we'll discuss.
The computer sticker phenomenon is crazy. It was actually one of the biggest shocks.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
On your computer right here, people, instead of just having a blank back,
I see.
they would
have messages.
Yes. It would either
and
be.
What was the common message?
I heart women or.
Pause.
Yeah.
This is this man's one and only source for the next bunch of bullshit that's going to come out of his mouth. His homegirl said she saw people with laptop stickers. That's it. That's all the information that he's been given. And I want you to push play so you can hear the dribble that comes out of his disgusting porridge brain from just that information.
Or just the female sign, the circle and
Wait,
the arrow.
I heart women on a woman's computer?
Yes.
All of this is proof to me that women need men. These women are manless. They may have hookups, but they're manless. And they might have been fatherless too. Ending with my generation, I would say, ending with the baby boomers, but certainly through them, young women thought a lot about, do I have a boyfriend?
Oh my God.
What will my wedding be like? What will I wear?
Look at this little handmaid
Who
nodding.
will be there? Who will the guy be? That I believe is healthy and normal for a young woman.
Of course you do.
What a fucking weirdo.
Of course you do. Because you
how
believe
weird
in
are
a
you?
male-dominated society. So what do you think is normal for a guy, I wonder?
He got all of that from the sticker.
So
First of all, he doesn't even know if this is true. He doesn't even know. This is just an anecdote from a person. He hasn't looked to see if any of this was. He didn't check the internet to see if these stickers were for sale somewhere, how much they cost, how many they probably sold, where they're probably shipping. He didn't figure out any of this. He just heard her and he just sat there with his arms crossed, rocking back and forth, chewing up his cud, after he's been out in pasture all day. And he's just gonna, logic my way through all this. They used to do that back in the day instead of like going to like college. Like dudes would just sit back in their like fucking opium den and just ponder the mysteries of the universe. That's how we got all these fucked up, crazy sects of religions and all this bad science and using leeches. Like you're not a mysticist. What you just sit back and ponder the mysteries of the galaxy and you just can figure it out?
no, they don't think about science.
Oh, they're buying stickers. Let me tell you what that is.
Amy
On the
said
laptops.
Prager gives plausible deniability to Trump's base. These idiots would be ranting on the street corners without their cult. Well, you're of course right, Amy. So that was his comment. This is about as far as I got the first time, but I do know what he says here.
Women who feel confident about being women tend to be manless and lonely. Do you genuinely think that? Do you think I'm manless and lonely? I think women rock.
I said that in general, women need.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't say in general at all. And you can rewind the tape and find out.
It's edited tape. He might have. We don't know. But
No,
it's inconsequential.
it wasn't, because I watched this part twice to make sure.
The clip that they played is edited, is what I'm saying.
But I've edit video. I did not see an edit there. Because when he's, of course, plausible deniability, right? Of course it's possible, but his head would have had to have been like in the exact right place, because
I'm not saying he said it in a different sentence and they spliced that together. He might have said it several sentences after or several sentences before, but we don't have the full tape. So we don't know if he said it or not.
Then he should say you didn't play the part where I said in general.
He doesn't have to clarify.
Yeah,
He just has to say he didn't say it.
I'll go back and look at his radio show then, because
I tried to find it and I couldn't find it. It's on. It must be behind a paywall or something.
I think is he the Blaze?
I don't know, but I think PragerU has their own like little site
subscription area.
Yeah.
Because the clip goes, he was like, "Oh, you're talking about the stickers," and then he says, "Oh, this is a woman's computer. It says I love women," and she goes, "Yes," and he goes, "This is all evidence to me that women need men." He didn't say in general women need men, and yeah, you can go back and make that clarification later, but your first mind is generally your real mind, right? So he
That's
never
not, you're doing what he does. You're
Never-
just saying things. That's not true.
never no
That's
no
not
I'm not
true.
because
your
because
first
he
mind is
made
not your
8 or 9
truer
different
mind. What are you saying, Dennis Prager Jr.?
if he could go, no, you are absolutely incorrect. If I tell you something 7 or 8 times in one particular way, and then one time in a different way, which one is it more likely that I actually believe?
I'm not playing your weird analogy game like he plays. I'm standing by what I'm saying. You're doing
And?
what he's doing. You're asserting things without proof. You
But
don't
you
have
are asserting that
you
he
don't have
said in general later. We don't have any evidence of that.
you don't have any evidence for the first one, which is what I'm trying to get you to understand. That it
Based
might,
on the go
you
ahead.
can't say based on partial evidence. That's not
But we
evidence
don't know
then.
that it's partial.
It is partial. There's clips. Go back to the clip. Go back to the clip
Okay.
that they played. It's edited. That's all I'm saying.
No, I know. Yes, I know that it's edited, but I did not see an edit there.
It doesn't matter if it's there. It could have been later. We don't have the 100% of the footage. So you can't say that he didn't or did do something because you didn't see the whole thing.
I think it's right here. Hold on.
It would either
Lord
be
have
What was
mercy.
the common message?
I heart women or just
Okay, so that was clearly an edit right there. Just
Dude,
a second ago.
Let it play. Let it play.
the female sign, you know, the circle and
Wait,
the arrow.
I heart women on a woman's computer?
Yes.
All of this is proof to me that women need men. These women are manless.
See?
They may have hookups, but they're manless.
Yeah, there's an
There's
edit
several
there.
different cuts, but we don't know what the sentence preceding that was. And to take him out of context like that is exactly what the left gets accused of. Let him say what he actually wanted to say. They're both
Okay, well,
wrong.
no,
but you don't win any fucking points by cutting them off and editing them and giving them fucking fuel to fight you back with. Let him say all of his stupid, but just don't get it wrong when you quote him, because then he's going to say you're misquoting me and now he's the victim, which is exactly what he's going to fucking do for the entire rest of all of these interviews.
I'm going to go find that interview and play, because
then you're going to have to pay some money because they're not going to.
No, it's out there somewhere. Dollars to donuts. That's not what it is.
I used all my resources. I couldn't find it. This is from like 2 weeks ago now.
Where was I at before? I never knew you were such a Prager fan.
I'm not a Prager fan. I'm a debate fan, and that's a shitty way of debating, because you'll paint yourself into a corner.
That would be, yes, I agree with that. Though this guy is a master debater, he would have said you left out the parts where I said in general.
So
and he did not say that. Dennis Prager knows what he is doing.
If I keep driving, if I'm playing basketball and I keep driving to my right because you can't guard me if I go to my right, and you're going to foul me every time, and I keep going to my right and you keep getting fouls, does that mean I don't know how to make layups?
I'm not sure that's an appropriate anecdote.
No, he's going to keep leaving fucking idiot bombs out there for her to keep stepping in. And I'm sorry, Dutch, you're falling for him too. You guys are not, like, you have to think about what he's trying to do, what he's saying, what he's not saying, and what you want him to say. Like, all of this has to be taken into account. So when she leaves these big nebulous gaps where she played the clip, right? The clip has been played. What should her question be after that?
After which clip?
After the clip of him saying all this stupid shit about women and how he knows that they're manless and lonely and they probably have daddy issues and all that stuff. So what would your question be to him after that?
Do you want to clarify your statement?
And then what would you do after you clarified?
Then I would, based on the clarification, then I would let's assume that he clarified and said in general. So I would ask him to make examples of when those generalities would be relevant, or why those generalities would be better. One of the two, right? So, because at that point he would have established a thesis for his idea, a premise for his idea.
Do you think she does that, or does she take the bait?
No, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying there. I'm defending it in this idea because as we have already established, Dennis Prager does this all the time. So the fact that he didn't do it lends credence to the idea that he never actually said that, because he would have said, well, you took that out of context. You clipped that wrong. Right.
Well, he doesn't really get a chance to talk in this at all anyway.
So I think they give him ample opportunity to talk. So at least up until this right here was as far as I saw, and that's where I got kind of ticked off and turned it off. So
All right,
after
hit it.
this, it's all new to me.
Pull the lever, Kronk.
Let's go back to where we were. I think it was about 12 minutes.
That just say positive things about women. Your mind immediately went to, they might have daddy issues and they're lonely, they need men. I want to understand your thinking. Like,
Okay,
how do you get to
explain
that conclusion?
Well, she kind of did it there, but we'll see.
It's if you had a heterosexual man, with 97% of men are heterosexual, with a sticker "I love men," you would wonder why. Why don't men have
straw man.
stickers "I love
Oh,
men"?
pause real quick. Pause real
But
quick.
you think it's perfectly normal and a non.
So he got this information from Homegirl on his show. She didn't even get the what's it called right. She said what's the like the sexes symbol. Which one is the women and which one is the men?
Oh, I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure the plus with the down, that's women, and then the circle with the arrow going up is the men.
That
in her
beats me.
description in her description of the sticker, it was with the circle with the arrow going up. So according to your only eyewitness for your only fucking piece of evidence, it was a man sticker. Yet here we are having a debate about it when the only fucking source. That's what I'm saying. Why even have the comment? Why not question the girl? Why not? Anna's first question should have been like, did you know your person didn't even know that was a man symbol that she was describing? So you got all upset, Mr. Dennis Prager, from a report from a. Are your feelings okay, Mr. Prager? Like, that's where you get people. They're triggered over a lie, which is clearly a lie. So much of a lie that they didn't even catch that they fucked it up. There's a typo in the lie. It's right there.
Yeah, I have listened to enough Dennis Prager to know for a fact. I feel very confident about saying that this is a fact.
Here we go.
That because I've listened to this guy for years, and none of this has changed. That and I'm going to make this as soft as possible so as not to go too far.
There we go.
That he believes that like people are more content when they are in a traditional relationship. Like kids are better off when they have a mom and a dad figure. That parents are better off when they have a spouse, right? That and that belief by itself is I don't think that believing that makes you a monster, but what he does though is that whenever there are social issues like poverty or gang violence or sexual assault or stuff like that, he'll push it back to say, well, and statistics will show that most of those people didn't have this perfect situation that I think only should be in a certain way. And they do this so frequently to drive home the idea that like the typical Judeo-Christian idea of what a family unit should look like is systematically proven throughout history to be the superior way to do things, and that no other way is going to have the same success record. Right? So it's
no, they have evidence of it working for other groups of people, but
they do, yes, but they won't. But that's not in his head.
It's not their duty to report the other side of things. They're there to push their message.
Correct.
So they're not going to. It doesn't behoove them to be honest. They're selling something.
Right. So for him to make so I'll just land my plane here. For him to make the leap to the idea that he would make the leap to these women are, in like in some sort of bad place and they need, and see, I told you so, only our way is right. I don't think is very far of a leap based on that context. So I don't know where she's going to go with this. Like I said, I didn't see the response to this part. So let's find out together.
Issue that women would have stickers, I love women. What is the point of saying that? It is worthy of a question. What? And I don't think that 50 years ago, this would have been, obviously there were no laptops then.
That's not an argument.
And also,
But I don't think it would
it's
have been
Thursday in Japan, so like, what are you talking about?
Well, yeah.
He's a rambling old man.
And 300 years ago, we wouldn't have talked about being online, having online predators out there. What's your point?
I remember 500 years ago when they were debating which kind of vape battery was the best. It's like, shut up, you stupid old man. God, 50 years ago. Yeah, what, the 70s, bro?
But see, that all lends back to their idea of make America great again, because they think that the way that average Joe thought about culture and society 50 years ago is the way that idea is why America was economically successful. And that's what helped lead to our prominence after World War II. When indeed it had nothing to do with that. It had to do with the fact that we won World War II. Did men fight better because they had or didn't have a man? Where's your evidence for that? Of course, you have none.
They don't.
Would if World War II were to happen tomorrow, do you have evidence that businesses wouldn't strive to maintain manufacturing for the war effort? You have no evidence that wouldn't happen.
Well, that's kind of his game. I want everyone to prove negatives while I just make up shit. I'm gonna make shit up, and then I want you to prove a negative to counter my point.
But that's the genius of the Republican debate
logical
style.
It's logical fallacies, is what it is.
Oh, yes, but
that's all it is.
Hence, but target the word logical, because when they say them, they sound logical to Joe Schmo in the middle.
Again,
who don't have the ability to critically think.
Now lower your bar for the American audience. And now you see
that's where my problem comes in, dude. Because like I like to think that like when you talk to people in like the workplace, right? I generally don't get the sense that they're stupid until we start talking about cultural issues, and then they turn into fucking Adam Sandler in Happy Madison.
Happy Gilmore.
Or
Happy Madison. Happy Madison is the production company.
Yeah, and what's the
Billy Madison?
Billy Madison. Thank you. And I give people too much credit, I guess.
Yes. Stop. You save yourself the trouble.
All right, we'll continue.
A common sentiment. I don't understand why women would need to announce I love women if they're not a gay woman. You tell me.
So what just recently happened that would make people want to put stickers, if this story is even true, put stickers on their laptops?
Yeah.
Maybe Roe v. Wade. Maybe that had something to do with it.
I want to hear what her rebuttal to this is.
Oh boy.
Hey, I'm curious. What does that signify?
Well, I mean, listen, as an individual who values free speech and freedom of expression, I think that women and men can have whatever laptop stickers they want. And the reason why there is a difference between men and women in regard to those laptop stickers is because, I mean, when you really think about it, women didn't have the right to vote for a very long time. Okay. Women didn't even have the ability to apply for a credit card until the 1970s. There have been equality issues when it comes to men and women. Now, we're getting a lot better, that's for sure. But first of all, I don't agree that women have laptop stickers that just simply say, I love women.
Where was her answer in the question there?
So here's what she should have said. Dennis, if you were a woman, you might realize that women have had to overcome a tremendous amount of obstacles that men have not had to overcome. And that is an empowerment statement. It's no different than LGBT pride, black power, you know,
You're falling
whatever.
for the pivot. You're falling for the pivot.
No, there's no pivot there. That is an empowerment statement. He is making an empowerment statement sound like advocating for non-traditional family values, which it doesn't matter if they were. But that there's really no way to draw that line. He's just making an assumption. Well, it must be I'm a gay woman. No, it's an empowerment statement because they've overcome something that you have never had to overcome. So he doesn't know shit about it or pretends not to know anything about it. I don't think he's that stupid.
There you go again. Rose glasses Dutch. That's what we call them.
What's your thought? What do you think I've missed here? Because I'm interested to know.
Because we were talking about her answer more specifically.
Yeah, and that's how she should have answered it.
Why,
she should have said it's a sticker for an empowerment movement.
Everybody already knows that. But again, he doesn't even know. She doesn't even know if that sticker is real. No one knows if that sticker is real. Why are you playing his fucking, like, just because his fucking co-host makes up a situation for everybody to react to doesn't mean you treat it with any more value than when you talk about his stupid made up fucking imaginary allegories about shit that never happened. This is like when they fucking have like a picture of like a fucking like a soldier and it's all like there's like a backwash of the flag and it's like black and white and gray and all that cool shit and there's this big long post under it. That's not written by that fucking guy. It's not. It's a lie. That's why I skipped all that shit. So if you ever put that shit on my Facebook, sorry, don't tag me in nothing. I don't want to read that shit. It's not from you. I don't care what the sentiment of it is. It's not real. This is a debate.
Yeah, and it raises
none of this is real. Stop debating non-real things with people. He has to prove that happened. I'm not going to argue with you if you can't prove that it fucking happened. Then if it didn't happen, then what are we talking about?
I don't even care. I don't even care that it that I'm sure that you could point out one example. That is not a trend.
But
right?
He would have to do that. Otherwise, you're wasting your time chasing a dog's tail. That's not even your fucking dog.
It's kind of like they say, well, this teacher in San Diego was propagating for CRT, so therefore all teachers are. Right? That they do stuff like that all the time. But they haven't named the teacher. They haven't named the school. They haven't named the case number for her getting in trouble. Like all of this is made up. And if it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they did. You can't deal with people based on this like goodwill of people are honest interlocutors. They're not. He made it up. He made it up and he said mean shit about women after he had this made up situation. He's a maker-upper. It's not real. None of that happened. But this raises a really, really interesting question because I thought this when I heard that the first time. Why did they pick that clip to play? Like they literally led the question there.
Yeah.
This is like clear culture war propaganda. And and I think the TYT looked at this particular situation and said, "Oh, this is gotcha moment. We got him."
Yeah, they thought they had a clip. They thought they had a clip.
And like, so if you picked the moment, you would think that you would have thought about what he was going to say in response to your question after you played the video. And then come up with 2 or 3 different answers as to why, how to respond to that.
If the whole point of it was to just really get like a real sense of how fucked up,
like to own the libs, but the opposite.
Well, if you just say so, like if you know somebody does something that's like embarrassing, like so, tell me about your pickle jar in your bedroom. And then they have to explain that. Like, if that's what they thought that they were doing, that they were like, come on, explain this one. You don't answer his stupid questions after he doubles down. Now you're part of the clip. Like, oh no, this is your words, buddy. I just wanted you to clarify. And you move on.
Yeah.
You can't play in the mud without getting dirty.
Our audience already knows this is, but so this is the part of the problem though. Our audience already can see like what he's doing here.
Maybe
Their
not.
audience can already see that. But Dennis Prager's audience doesn't see that. And they're the ones who need to see him fall over that banana peel.
But at the same time, I feel like you're falling for stuff too.
You always feel like I'm falling.
You're falling like you're falling. You keep falling for his pivots, and you keep responding to his pivots instead of just calling them out as pivots and moving on.
But that's not talking about what the debate happened in the debate.
It's not a debate, and that's
we are talking about what happened in this particular debate, not what would happen if I or you were to talk to him in a separate debate. That would be a separate debate to do a critical analysis on. This is a critical analysis on this debate. Right. And they went there. TYT picked this up and went there.
You're missing me. We don't he doesn't explain his points, and it's not my job to explain his points. Let his points be bad on their own. You don't have to help his bad points by explaining his bad points. They're bad.
Which bad point did I explain?
You've tried to oh, well, he means this, and he did it, and you have like a 5-minute thing on what he means about everything. Don't explain his shit. He doesn't explain his shit. The problem is that Anna is not calling him on his shit, and that's what I keep calling out, and that's why I'm calling out the pivots. That's why I keep calling out the logical fallacies, because that's not straight. Because that's not how debates should work. You don't just sit there. If you want to have a chill conversation with somebody, that's one thing. But if someone's trying to if you have a point to bring up or there's something to be discussed, you can discuss it and just it. What I don't know why they keep going off into all this other stuff. And so she's like, well, the LGBT and women's right to vote. Why are you? He needs to explain his clip. Why are you answering? But that's the pivot. He'll say 3 words and then he'll flip it back on her and then she'll talk for 5 minutes. Don't you see that's the game? That's the hustle. Are you reading?
No, I was just making sure that you were done. Because the last couple times I tried to talk, I felt like I was going to step on you.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I think that there is I understand the way that you like to do your debates, right? And I think that there's more than one way to skin a pig, depending on who the audience is. Okay. What you have said for the TYT audience would be exactly the way to do it. I think the way, and this is my opinion, I'm not trying to fight about this or have a boxing match about this, but I think on a conservative outlet, that doing what I was talking about and even a little bit of what Anna was half-heartedly doing, trying to do at least, has its own level of effectiveness, because you have a certain amount of people that have tuned in to PragerU or his network or whatever the case may be, because maybe they were raised on it, or like I was, right? And haven't actually heard the deception behind the rhetoric. And once you can expose that to those particular people in a way through anecdote or example, then you can start to pull that veil back a little bit on that particular audience to say, hey, you know what? I can understand what he's saying there because he's describing what PragerU is trying to do. So I think that, again, what you said was probably right for TYT to do, based on the fact that their audience is the one that this is made for. But I would tend to think that the way that I am describing to do things, or that Anna is describing to do it, would have a level of effectiveness to a certain percentage of the audience that might tune into PragerU. I think that's all I'm trying to say. And for some reason, this is my flaw. I always think I'm talking to those people. right. Like, because I always assume that one day someone's going to stumble on this, like someone I went to high school with or whatever. I'm like, oh, Jason has a show, but that person's a right winger, and they go and they listen to it, and they're like, so I'm kind of breaking down to the ridiculous for that audience that may not even be listening to the show. That's my problem. I know that I do that. But you have to accept that as a personality flaw of myself. I don't think it's a rose glasses thing. I think it is a break. No, I'll disagree with that, because a rose colored glasses would be like making it try to look okay. I'm trying to show you the bullshit and where the lie is at and why it is a lie. So I'm not sure that I agree with the rose colored glasses part.
Well, I mean, you didn't even get what I meant by rose colored glasses. You just made up my definition for me and then put it on and said no. I think you think people are better. That at the end of the day, people will appeal to their better angels 9 times out of 10. I'm more at like a 2 out of 10.
Is there? Sorry, again, a kid asked me a question.
That's why I stalled for you.
So are you telling me that there's, because maybe there is and I just don't know. Are you telling me that there's more than one meaning for rose-colored glasses? Because like I've only known the one ever, and that is like looking at something bad through rose-colored glasses to make it look like it is good.
I mean, we can find a mutual agreement, but I was under the assumption it was much more akin to looking at a situation, seeing it for better than what it is.
Yeah, that's I think we just said the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you look at people like they're better than they are.
Oh, yes. That part's for sure.
And that's what I'm saying.
But that's what makes me such a wonderful person.
Yeah, that makes you a sucker for all these fucking right wingers who keep tricking y'all into talking about them instead of getting them on your show, making them answer your questions, and not giving them room to wiggle out. Because every time you answer, it's like talking to the cops. Don't let them answer. You don't volunteer any information. Let them talk. All
right, let's get back to this.
Women. It's probably some sort of empowering statement for women.
It took her that long to get there. All right, let's skip to the next topic.
Go back so we can hear the whole thing put together.
Ability to apply for a credit card until the 1970s. There have been equality issues when it comes to men and women. Now we're getting a lot better, that's for sure. But first of all, I don't agree that women have laptop stickers that just simply say, I love women. It's probably some sort of empowering statement for women, but that doesn't translate to, oh, I'm a lonely, manless person, and I should go back to the good old days when women sat around thinking about whether or not they're gonna find a husband and get married. You seem to push your values and your views on relationships onto other people. And what I'm trying to get you to understand is, rather than making generalizations about what's best for women, maybe allow people to live their lives as they see fit, have a belief system as they see fit. Okay. Why do you?
Okay.
See,
he's going to, I don't know which statement that she made, but you can see the look in his eye. He's going to pick a verb out of this and say, I don't agree with that noun or verb or adjective or whatever that she used. He's going to pick one. I said verb, I meant word. He's going to pick one word out of it and say that he doesn't agree with it. And that she's misrepresenting his ideas here. I bet dollars to donuts. And Anna in this scene, she looks like she's just had some really good, like some wonderful zucchini. Like, oh, this is to die for. I'm clearly hungry. Wait, where's my controls?
You feel the need to force your beliefs onto other people. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, okay, I don't understand the word force.
Oh, she just gave him another one.
I mean,
the fact that you think that if I offer my opinion, I'm forcing people to adopt it is a bit odd.
You don't believe that America should be secular. So what does that mean?
Wait. Let me finish that point.
Sure, go ahead.
I believe that I have the right, as you do, to offer people thoughts on what might be a better and happier life for them. I've written a book on happiness, which has touched a lot of lives if one wants to read the reviews on Amazon. I believe, again,
No one cares about your
that
stupid
in general, of course, every generalization has exceptions. Most women will have a better and happier life with a good man.
As opposed to what?
That's the thing. It's an incomplete thought. And that's what should be challenged. Is incomplete.
I love how he brings up, I wrote a book called Happiness. Like, because the book was titled Happiness, that therefore everything about it has to be perfect. No politics in there whatsoever, I'm sure. No opinion, just happiness. No, it's your idea of what happiness is, Dennis. And I'm not inclined to agree with your idea. That is just really, really dumb. Let's try to move ahead to the next topic here. Boy, this lonely women part was long. And I really don't care to hear about, well, let's skip to about right here, if that's okay with the audience. See, I just had some more good lasagna. It's so good.
Stagnant since the 1970s. Women don't have a choice as to whether or not
this is interesting. Let's go back a little.
On building a family. First of all, you can't force anyone to do that, right? But let's say you want to encourage women to focus on that. You want to give them the choice, but you want to encourage them. A great way to encourage them is to create an economic system in which people feel comfortable knowing that they can survive on a single income household. I'm talking about when they're married, okay? Both individuals in a marriage have to work in order to be able to pay their rent, pay their mortgage, put food on the table for their children, educate their children. Wages have remained stagnant since the 1970s. Women don't have a choice as to whether or not they can work or whether or not they should just focus on raising children. They don't have the choice. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Right, and we differ on that because the reason that many women.
Did he say he differs on the fact that women shouldn't be able to make the choice? Is that what he said?
Who knows? She said 14 things at a time.
Let me replay that.
Choice as to whether or not they can.
One more second back.
Just use the arrows on your laptop, dude. It goes back 5 seconds.
Wages have remained stagnant since the 1970s. Women don't have a choice as to whether or not they can work or whether or not they should just focus on raising children. They don't have the choice. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Right, and we differ on that because the reason that many women, not all, but perhaps most even, are working is not just economic, especially certainly in the upper class, upper middle class, and even part of the middle class. It is because they believe that their self-worth derives more from work than it does from family. If a girl got up in a high school,
where's his proof?
I was literally going to say the same thing. So you're assuming what other people think.
Yeah.
You're assuming what gives people enrichment in their life. I'm sure it's both. Why are you making an assumption?
Because that's what he does. He doesn't have to know or do anything. He can just say things. He just says things. He just says them. It's totally made up. There's no proof anywhere at it. No one has done that study. But that won't slow him down.
So is he trying to say here that if women had just stayed in the house, that society would be in a better place?
Yeah. And you can't argue that. You can't argue that, he says.
Well, that's why you can't argue whether or not God exists, because no one can prove it. It's that you only have one model. And it's no evidence either way. So in this one, he's saying, well, this is what happened, and I don't like what I see, But that's the thing I don't get though. Is like, what do they see that they don't like? What do they see that's so scary in society? What is it that triggers them so much? What's the boogeyman?
Yeah, they're not changing. See, just slide that bar down a little bit, homie.
Like I understand this thought is big in the evangelical community. I get it. It's a big thought, but I get that it's there, I should say. I don't get why it is there. I know that it is there. Very aware that it exists. But so he actually seems to believe that women leaving the home due to economic reasons has contributed to the downgrade of society, which I'm not even sure has downgraded. He just says that it's downgraded.
He's asserted that it is worse. Yeah. He does a lot of asserting. He doesn't do a lot of proving. He doesn't do a lot of citing. Just a lot of asserting. Just telling you what it is. And then he says, what, you don't agree that my assumption is not probably true? Well, then if you agree that it's probably, or it could be true, then it must be true.
But see, that's the thing, dude, is that there's a lot of people, I think, who are, I'm trying to get away from saying the middle because it seems to trigger people, but like there are a lot of people who are, what's the word I'm looking for? It's indifferent. Thank you. Who are indifferent to one or the other political ideologies, who might hear, oh, our GDP per capita per person in the 50s was X and now it's Y. And look, women in the workplace.
I blame
and they
lesbians.
Might hear that. Say again.
The economy has dropped. I blame lesbians. It's like, what? How did you even get to like what? What?
But people will hear that and they'll be like, oh, it's kind of like the autism vaccines conversation, right? Like they'll say, oh, well, as vaccines went up, autism went up. It's a soft correlation. There's no direct correlation there. It's like ice cream sales in the summer and murder in the summer. I don't like, but people will believe that because, like I said, when I first logged on, Republicans are leading in the polls. So something about this is resonating with people. And I don't get it.
It's easy to be dumb.
But even women buy into this.
Women can be dumb. There's dumb women, just like there's dumb men.
Oh, yeah, I know that. But like Melissa is a professional woman and she'd probably buy into this with a master's degree. And she'd probably buy into it.
We didn't say uneducated.
Oh, I know. I'm not. That's two different things.
Or college class. Let's say a professor or a teacher said, so women, I mean, to the extent that they can now say that, because you can't say boys and girls in many elementary schools.
Keep going. Don't stop.
We're told by your side that sex is not binary. But let's say they say, we'd like the women in this class,
sex is
please
binary.
Stand up and tell
Gender's
us what
not.
your vision for your life is. If a girl got up in a college class and said, to be honest.
And she didn't rebut that?
So let him hit left arrow twice, and then let him do the whole sentence. Let him do the whole stupid thing. Just do your left arrow twice. Yeah. There you go. Welcome to the future. Space bar.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah. Okay. Hit your space bar. Quit using that mouse.
Space bar is play?
Like the women in this
Here you go.
I had no fucking clue.
Look at you go on the quickies now. On the ones and twos.
I'm a mouse guy.
Yeah.
Tons
go.
of mice.
Oh, he's probably at work.
Class, please stand up and tell us what your vision for your life is. If a girl got up in a college class and said, you know, to be honest, my greatest hope in life is for a good marriage and to make a family, she would be regarded as almost a freak.
Would she?
I mean,
What is
pause
that based on?
Yes,
What
she would.
evidence do you have to back that up?
Pause. Okay. So he makes up a thought experiment, says it would be so ridiculous that this thought experiment would have this result. And I blame you, and you need to explain to me why it is the way that it is. So Dutch,
Yeah.
this girl who wants to get up in front of her class and say that my life ambition is to be a stay-at-home mom, be a homemaker, and then all of her classmates would get up and laugh uproariously at this young lady for her dedication to family. He's made all this up. None of this is real. This is from his head. And he says, oh, well, if a girl did do that, this would happen. You know what would happen if a fucking girl stood up in the middle of the class and said, these are my life aspirations? They're like, bitch, shut the fuck up. I have to go back to work after this class and you've taken up time. People are in class. They're there to learn. They don't care about they don't care about their classmates' fucking ambitions. I paid 20 grand a month to fucking be here, or 20 grand a semester to be here. I do not care about Lisa's fucking life aspirations.
Yeah, I
No one
think
cares.
I think he's making up a pretend scenario that he didn't specify, that like this was the day that, you know, this is career day.
He did.
You want to hear what you want to be like.
He made up all of the rules for his scenario, and it's stupid. It's the stupidest thing. It's so unrealistic. But in his day and age, maybe you did get in front of the class and tell everybody who you were. Motherfucking classrooms are 200 fucking people in an auditorium. Why the hell would anybody fucking stand up and say, and by the way, I'm going to stay home with the kid? Ain't nobody ask you, bitch. Shut down. Sit your ass down.
Well, and when you
do
do that, because you do that in school, but you do it in like second grade.
no one's
and
doing
I
that in
don't
a
think-
college classroom.
And I don't think the second graders are going to be like, haha, Missy wants to have a husband, na boo boo. She doesn't want to be an astronaut.
Yeah.
I don't think second graders would care.
Like, oh, I want to be a mommy. Everybody like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like, no one fucking cares at that age. But again, we're already falling for it. There is no need to talk about situations that are made up by Dennis Prager. He made this up.
Yeah.
This is not factual. But that's the trick, is they trick you into speaking their language. Hit it, Dutchman.
I live in the real world.
So do I.
There was,
No, you don't.
And you
What
believe
is
that
made
if a
up
girl
shit?
got up,
He lives
Listen to him.
he lives in his made up world.
and said that, she would be regarded with the same respect as the girl who said, I'd like to be a
The
physicist.
same respect.
I believe that most normal people are too busy thinking about how they need to survive and are less concerned about the aspirations of individuals in their classroom. And so if you have data backing up that women who want to be homemakers are persecuted in this country, I'd
No,
love
here
to
it
see
is,
that
here it
data.
is.
And I wouldn't agree with that
I never said
persecution.
they're persecuted.
You
All I
seem
said
to
was
imply that they're being
they would be
victimized by
regarded-
wanting to be home.
He just said that they'd be laughed at. That's a form of persecution.
Anyway,
Makers,
go
and I
ahead.
just don't buy it.
Okay, fine. So good. This is a classic example of what I say on my radio show. I prefer clarity to agreement. You think that a girl who got up in a college class and said, my most fervent dream is to have a happy marriage and a family, will be regarded with the same respect as a girl who said, I would like to be a physician or a physicist. We differ. Perfect. Okay.
All right. And
Is that
again,
what
if you
happened?
have data.
That's not what he had said.
Is that
He
what
changed
happened?
it to a college class, didn't he?
He did say a college class in the first place.
He did. Okay.
Yeah. But is that what happened? Is that what he said? Is that what she said? Is that what you guys were even talking about? And look at his little chuff little smile. That has nothing to do
Now
with
he
what
looks
the
like Dick
question was.
Cheney.
That has nothing to do with what they were talking about, but she's been lured into it.
Yeah, I didn't even catch that. My reply to him, if he had said that, would be, why are we talking about this? Why is this important? Where's
Who
your
cares?
and she started out by saying, what's your data?
Exactly.
And
Then
that's
he's
where
like, oh,
the
the teacher
question should have
doesn't.
ended.
The teacher doesn't ask things and put them into a computer. It's like, but then
But
what are you talking about then?
She asked him for the data and then moved on to something else.
And then didn't wait for the data.
Because obviously there is none.
No lines
And
over here. Come on in, data.
I don't understand why they're arguing these topics. That these topics are useless.
Because she's
It's
being
culture
tricked.
war shit.
She's being tricked into talking about what he wants to talk about.
On his channel, great. Go talk about that on his channel because that's what sells there.
But he's selling it over here now. And that's the risk of bringing people onto your platform is if you are not careful and you are not skilled, he will do this.
Data backing up what you're saying, then I'm happy to admit I'm wrong.
Data. The teachers don't do this and then set into a computer.
So you're just declaring, you're making up stories about how women are treated in the classroom and we're just supposed to buy it? Okay.
We're each giving the perception of reality that we have.
She's exactly right.
Not every perception of reality has a database.
So Dennis, what Dennis doesn't realize that he's just done here, and I hope she calls him on this, is he's just said, he's literally just admitted that what he said was based on his perception and therefore only true to him. So why are you advertising that as true to everyone?
It's just true. It just is. It just is because I said it. Imagine being married to that guy. Imagine being married to that guy.
He's admitting it right now that he has no argument.
As soon as you say, honey, I thought you said you're going to cut the grass. Well, did I say I would cut the grass or did I say the grass needed to be cut? Did I grow that grass? Did I water that? Like, he's the most impossible person. He tries to wiggle out of everything, even things that he creates himself.
Chat, how do we have 11 people in the chat and one person talking? Chime in. Chime in with us, chat. We want to know you.
Yeah, scold them. That'll get them to talk to us.
We want to know you. That's not a scolding. That's an invitation to be friends.
Chat.
I want to know you. Be friends with Mikey.
Why don't you ask them?
Nice.
Why don't you ask them a question? Like, if you guys think I'm totally off base, put 2 in the chat. If you think Dutch is right, put 1 in the chat.
About what?
Don't worry about that. Let them answer their own damn question. I didn't ask you.
Is this what this whole thing is about? Is lonely women?
Theory that whites are being replaced with minorities in this country purposely to keep Democrats in power. You felt the need to kind of downplay right-wing extremism in this country. And you said, quote, "This man represents such an infinitesimally small segment of the white population." Now, while that statement might be literally true, I don't think that the white population in America mostly consists of domestic terrorists. So I agree with you on that. It seems like you kind of want to brush aside the very real problem we're having in this country with political violence, politically motivated violence. And I want to give you a few other examples. For instance, the Southern Poverty Law Center did a poll and found that 7 out of 10 Republican voters believe in that white replacement conspiracy theory. Are you concerned about that at all?
Right now, we have had, I believe.
Oh my God, he's
wait.
Let him
do it. Let him do it.
He's not going to answer the question.
Let him do it.
2 million illegal immigrants.
Hold on, I need to say a prayer.
Rewind it. Go back 2 lefts. No. Use your keys. Okay.
White replacement conspiracy theory. Are you concerned about that at all?
Look at him up.
Right now, we have had, I believe, 2 million illegal immigrants, and the Democratic president of the United States has opened our border.
Okay, I've had enough. You know what?
No, come on, he's not done. Let him get the whole. It's not done yet. It's worse.
There was attempt to close the border to illegal immigration. So I will ask you, and I mean this not even as a challenge. I'm curious. Why do you think people on the left want millions of people to come in legally or illegally.
Pause.
Okay.
So what was her question?
Her question was, what does white replacement theory concern him?
The uptick of like right-wing extremist violence and the spread of the great replacement theory. Like, what is your response to that? His response was, there's 2 million Mexicans flooding through the border. And then I just want to ask you, and not as a challenge, but as a real question, a curiosity. How does that make white people feel?
Okay, so this is where she says, that's not the question I asked you. Please answer the question that I asked you.
He said, but the Mexicans.
Now, another thing that irritates me, I just realized my battery's dying on my phone. Another thing, I will say this though, and Mikey, I'm not answering him here, but I think it's important for people to realize this. Open borders, that whole word is very subjective. Like what constitutes open borders to a Republican and what constitutes open borders to me is two very, very different things, apparently. Like do you know that this is just a fact. Do you know that after after Trump implemented that, what was it, Title 42 or some shit? I forget the name of the policy during COVID where he shut the borders down temporarily. That ended like this year in May or something like that. I think it was like mid-May that ended. So Biden lifted it because it ended. It wasn't a new policy by Biden. He lifted it because it ended the day that Trump picked for it to end. It's like Afghanistan. Biden said, oh, well, that was the day Trump picked, so we're going to go with that day. And then they pretend Biden picked the day. And if you look at like the amount of immigrants that were sent back under that policy, I want to say it's 3-1. I haven't looked at this recently, but like it's 3-1, the amount of immigrants turned back under Biden compared to under Trump under that policy. Now, yes, there was more time, but what are you talking about open borders? Do we not have border security? Do we not have surveillance there? Did Biden stop the surveillance? Did he fire ICE? We have to stop letting this conversation carry weight. Like we have to seriously stop letting this conversation carry weight, because none of the evidence shows that. Kamala Harris got up on stage and said with her lips, do not come. So please, if you're on the left and you're listening and you hear someone say this open border thing, regardless of the fact that we may all agree that immigration is a positive thing for this country, and it is, the idea that the Biden administration is allowing people from Latin America to pour into the country is stupid. And the one part, if I remember correctly, that Biden did lift a little bit was the asylum seekers, because the original Trump policy did not allow even those seeking political asylum for their own safety. Those people were turned away too. And I believe the Biden administration allowed certain asylum seekers in. I could even be wrong about the fact that they did that. I know there was at least a conversation to lifting that part of it, though I don't remember exactly what the end result was. So just side note on immigration, stop letting them say this, because it is false. But back to the point, Anna should be telling him here to answer her fucking question.
Right-wing extremism. That's what we're talking about.
No, let's talk about open borders. Like he's making the most logical fallacy of all logical fallacy. Like he's combining like nine of them.
Yeah, there's names for them. Otherwise, it's not making.
No,
he's just
combining.
He's not.
Multiples.
I don't think he's doing.
It's not a this or that. It's
He's literally not answering the question. It's not even a logical fallacy. He's just answering something different. He said, like she said, right-wing extremism, and he said Mexico. So I don't like. This isn't an answer. So to go on with the interview as if it was an answer is your own fault. You can't let people just talk however they fucking want. You gotta follow the rules.
Let's run through this and get to the. I only got about 13 more minutes, guys, and then I got to get the kids dinner here, so I apologize.
Yeah, I'm not eating my dinner because somebody couldn't wait for me.
I love you, Mikey.
I just wanted a little time to eat my damn tacos.
I told you I would go on and just talk shit until you got ready. I didn't rush you.
Yeah,
I apologize if you felt rushed.
it's fine.
Let's gun through this. I just want to hear her answer this, and then we'll go to the Cenk one real quick and gun through that.
Well, let's first discuss the inaccuracies in your statement. Number one,
There
there are legal means to immigrate into the United States. So, for instance, the asylum seekers who are being used as political pawns by people like Texas Governor Greg Abbott, I'm not done, or Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis, they came into this country seeking asylum, meaning they are here legally and they are awaiting a federal judge, an immigration judge, to make a decision about their asylum status. Okay, so the idea that the border is open and people are just pouring in illegally is inaccurate.
Yes, they are. No, it is accurate.
No, it's
Okay,
inaccurate.
Good. So this is the perfect example of where we differ and there's no reconciling.
He's successfully changed the question.
Yep.
Okay, so let's see if she goes back to it.
Just hit play because we could have been much further. Yeah, just hit
All
play.
right, I'm going to skip a second.
Exploiting undocumented immigrants for cheap labor, and they have no recourse. That exists. But they love the theater. Members of Congress love the theater.
For the record, I spit on corporations. They are woke and they are abusive of
what is
labor
woke?
at the same time. So you're not going to get any defense from me or any conservative of big corporations.
Bullshit.
I can't stand them. The fact that Disney will not even allow people at their amusement parks to say boys and girls anymore gives you an idea of how sick they have become.
Except
in
that
the
they do.
wokeness of this non-binary evil, and that I do believe is evil.
Oh,
to
Jesus
tell little
Christ.
children
Anna.
you don't know if you're a boy or a girl until you decide.
Citation
Do you think
needed.
that's healthy?
Citation needed.
I think it's unhealthy
it's
to
healthy
spend the
not to
amount of
say
time
boys and
you
girls?
spend in judging decisions that parents make about their own children. I think it's none of your business. I don't think it's anyone's business. And schools are not doing anything close to what the right wing is describing. I mean, it is amazing because you talk about Alan Dershowitz, who had written a column in the New York Times about how it should be okay to have sex with underage girls, okay? You don't call him a groomer, but you'll call our educators who have done nothing wrong, just want to create an environment that's welcoming to all students. You'll call them groomers, you'll defame them as some sort of sexual predators, and it's unacceptable. Just being clear about that.
I've never called them groomers. You have the wrong guy. But a teacher that has the kids in kindergarten attend a drag queen story hour to see a guy in a dress dancing erotically in front of them, those teachers
That never happened.
That
what we
never
would have called
happened.
10 years ago, sick.
That never ever happened.
It never happened.
That happened in a school district in San Francisco where some people came in and read a book.
No,
In
but
order
it wasn't a strip tease. Like,
No,
it's not
it was-
a burlesque show.
It was done for one reason. And I said this in my Bible study back when I used to go like a year and a half ago, because they were complaining about this. This is old, but this happened like 5 years ago. They said, why would you be okay with that? I said, I'll tell you why. Because I wish that as a kid I had seen them as people and not as weirdos. But they were portrayed to me as weirdos. And I thought they were weirdos until my teens. And if I had seen that as a kid, maybe I would have just said, oh, this is just a regular person that deserves fucking respect. That's all it is.
He said he's supposed to be answering about how the white boys are getting all buck wild and crazy
He-
and
he's-
shooting up everywhere because they think that they're being replaced in this country. And the first word out of his mouth, instead of saying that shit is disgusting and they need to knock that, the Mexicans are coming in here, 2 million, I hear. Like, he just went right to right to it. And then she's like, I don't
and
know.
14 of them are named Julio. Yeah.
I don't know what that has nothing to do with the price of tea in China. What are you talking about?
All right, let's
Crazy, man.
as a role model. But anyway, we only have a few more minutes left.
No. If you throw out a point, you have to allow
She
me to
brought up-
respond.
Okay,
she
go
brought
ahead.
up-
We're running out of
she
time.
brought up
We have a
Trump.
hard out.
Okay,
So
and
go
how
ahead.
when I was a
Trump's a
child, my
terrible,
father didn't say to me, I want you
influence.
to look to Lyndon Johnson as a role model. This notion that the president's private life, John F. Kennedy had orgies at the
look how angry he's getting.
He's defending his boy. Now he's
White House.
passionate.
Okay, do you speak about that? I don't care about presidents' private lives. You
Yeah, actually, they do.
do. I care about sexualizing children.
No, yes, you do care about presidents' private lives because that's the entire reason why was it Dan Quayle was no longer on the ticket for when he tried to run for president because you weren't happy with his personal life. It is absolutely that. You're a fucking liar. You're a fucking liar.
That's what he does.
You've always cared. The Jerry Falwell and the moral majority, that is all they cared about. And now all of us, and that has always been the case, with the exception of Reagan, the people overlooking Reagan's multiple marriages, which a lot of people didn't want him to have the nomination because of that, until Trump, and then all of it went away. It used to be that that conservatives were trying to get rid of the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue because it was debauchery. And then liberals decided, you know what? And rightly so. Hey, you know what? This is exploitative of women. Not that, it's encouraging boys to go masturbate, which is what the only problem that the Republicans had with it. They were, we don't want them to go masturbate. Liberals are like, hey, this causes some issues with, women having, issues with their body and, unachievable standards in some cases. And, a lot of these women have been exploited and we should hold Sports Illustrated accountable for that. They're not trying to cancel it, but hey, let's be mindful of these things. And now conservatives love the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue. In fact, a hot girl with a gun and a bikini wrapped in an American flag is like their favorite thing now.
Oh, they're digging up all the old Cindy Crawford spreads.
He's a fucking liar.
Yeah.
And there's only 30 seconds that's left. So
Children you don't.
I care about.
Go back 5 seconds. There you go.
Okay, do you speak about that? I don't care about presidents' private lives. You do. I care about sexualizing children. You don't.
I care about.
who's sexualizing children?
You are sexualizing children. See that? And then he says, okay, don't just drop bombshells on me and then let's leave. But then he knows that they have a heart out and he drops a bombshell. He's got his sound
Fighting
clip.
back against lies regarding educators sexualizing children. That is not happening. But you guys do love to defame educators who are already underpaid, undervalued, and should be treated a lot better in this country. So I would love to continue this conversation. Unfortunately, we're running out of time.
Okay, that's a deal.
I'd love to invite you to our members only bonus episode if you're willing to stay for another 30 minutes. I don't know if you're open to that.
Yeah, I am.
Fantastic. Okay, great.
You can skip the Cenk.
All right. So let's do that.
See,
And by the way, isn't it
go ahead.
funny that they love ripping on educators, but let's arm them.
Well, I don't know if he was in that camp.
He's not telling those people to shut up. So silence is complicity as far as I'm concerned. Let's see here.
He doesn't feel like it's his responsibility.
Let's see. Where's I have it in history. Where's history at? Home.
It's his perception as a racist. Wait a minute. Thank you.
Oh, here it is down here. History.
Just get them makeup.
I think I have it in history. Oh, here it is.
And just know,
I'm not used
everybody,
to looking this on my. Sorry, go ahead.
it doesn't matter if you don't have any evidence to prove what you have to say, just say it louder. And just ask questions about the things that you say when people ask you if what you said was true or not. That's usually the best course of action.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
All right, so this one is only a couple minutes long. This will be the last thing we do. I'm going to let this play for a second, Mikey, and just go let the family know that I'll be out in about
Yeah.
double the time, 6:40, so 12 minutes. So I cannot pause this for you. So here you go.
it seems like you're not in favor of secularism. So I wanted to ask about that. So I never understand what you folks mean when you say we shouldn't be a secular country. Do you think religion should rule us? What do you mean?
Not a bad question.
I think that we should have a secular government and a religious population, just as the founders did. That's why in God
not
We
what they
Trust
thought.
is one of the three mottos of our country.
And God We
we
Trust
are
was
now
added in the
seeing
50s.
consequences in every area of life of the death of Christianity, and I say this as a religious Jew, the death of the Judeo-Christian value system, the death of the 10 Commandments, and the death of all the things that came with religion, meaning and community, and moral absolutes among them.
I mean, he does a lot of Christian water
religious
carrying for
values.
somebody who isn't a Christian.
Oh, he loves them for being a. He calls himself like a. Isn't he a Jew?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I knew he wasn't an atheist.
No.
So what are they arguing? Oh yeah, and I love Cenk schools Dennis Prager on secularism.
Because that's the labeling.
Yeah. Okay. Ben Shapiro owns College Lib.
Yep.
is
Liberal
what
annihilated.
we can now say there are more than two sexes. And
Do they have to go to that? I mean, does he have a one-track mind?
You're not going to make dinner. Just let it play. Just turn it down a little bit. We'll talk
that
over.
we shouldn't call
Okay, that's a good idea. See, you're smart.
Use up and down on the
kids,
on
boys, and girls in schools
keypad.
anymore. We are living in the age of moral and intellectual chaos because of the
Says
death of
him.
religion.
Okay, so poll just came out today, I think actually. 61% of Republicans say we should be a Christian nation, but don't get them twisted. They're not saying, hey, just be Christian at home. 57% of them, of Republicans, say, no, we know it's unconstitutional. We know that it's not in the Constitution. We can't establish a religion, but we want to do it anyway. 61% say, no, we want it.
Hey,
So
Tommy.
that seems to be establishing a religion, Christianity. Do you think 61% of Republicans are wrong?
They
That's a
didn't
good
say
question.
they want to establish a religion. They said they wanted a Christian country. I'd rather have a Christian country than a secular country, and I'm a Jew.
Okay, so help me understand what a Christian country means. Does that mean you establish a
country of
religion,
people.
Christianity?
No, established. There was never an established religion in the country, and Christians aren't for it. I work.
So the only thing
Christians.
he's splitting hair on is the fact that he's saying like there's not the
Yeah,
first church
bullshit.
of America. It's just that there isn't the first church of America, and like there's an American like a USA federally backed branch of Christianity. But if there's a Christian population, which is what he's wanting, and all of the representatives are chosen by the people who are part of the population, you
Right.
can see where he really wants a theocracy by fiat. He just wants
Exactly.
it just to be assumed theocracy, and let's just all follow the same rules of my God.
Right.
And that's fine with me. Let's just do that then. It's like,
Because anything else would
no.
be mob rule, he would say.
it doesn't work any other way. And that's why it worked so good in the 40s and 50s.
Yeah. Well, that's what they mean by make America great again. So
So it's bar.
I know. I work more with Christians than with Jews. My synagogue
So
is
what?
Jews, but I work with Christians. I'm
What
in
does that have to do
churches
with
all the
anything?
time. I never heard one of them say, "Let's establish Christianity."
What does it mean? But
Protestants
I have.
believe deeply in the separation of church and state.
okay, no, they don't.
He
In
made that up.
fact,
He made
in
that
fact, there is I want to say, I'll have to prove that this is right. I want to say it's PragerU. I'm pretty sure they have a video on separation of church and state. And in that video, I could be amalgamating a different organization. but they talk all the time about how the separation of church and state isn't in the Constitution, because it's not. Those words are not in the Constitution. Those are from a letter written by Thomas Jefferson to a Baptist church.
No, it's the government shall not form any religious institution.
Right, which is what Thomas Jefferson was describing to this church to assure them. And because of the fact that Thomas Jefferson said that outside of the Constitution, they have said, pretty sure again, it was them. Oh, the separation of church and state is not really a thing.
It's in the First Amendment, dude. It is in the Constitution. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. It says it right there in the fucking first sentences.
Yeah,
Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. You can't, and that's the fiat, where they say that there's no Church of USA. Therefore, the government is not making a religion.
Right, but what he said,
establishing
what he said while this plays, do me a favor, go into YouTube and just search for the following term, like separation of church and state, not in the Constitution, or something abbreviated of that nature. Because his statement right there was, no conservative wants it. Yes, they do. They want a theocracy. Yes, they do. So I'll continue to play this while Mikey looks for that.
I already got it.
I don't see that at all. And
You already got it?
Yeah.
All right, share it.
I'm the man, dude. Did you know?
I'm going to guess there's hundreds of conservative leaning videos that say precisely that. And they're talking about the letter.
Private matter comes from one brief letter that Thomas Jefferson wrote based on the Bible as indispensable to the moral foundation of the nation they were creating.
And this is from PragerU, right?
Yep.
It comes from one brief letter that Thomas Jefferson wrote to the Danbury Baptist Association, and affirms his conviction that religious belief should be a private matter and that the government should not interfere with such matters. He uses the phrase, building a wall of separation between church and state.
Okay, where's the article? Where's the actual article?
And
the actual article of what?
Where's the letter that Thomas Jefferson wrote? Because this is a very nice little graphic that they got put together here. I'll just open it up in a new thing.
Well, that letter is published. You can find that letter.
That's what I'm saying. Let me see what it actually says, because if it's coming from them, I don't believe what they're saying, and I want to read it for
his argument
myself.
here, they're going to make an argument here that it I guarantee you, if you look at the premise of this video, that they are saying that there isn't really a wall there, and that it's okay to have faith in government juxtaposed in some way. That's going to be the premise of what's the title of that video?
What does separation of church and state mean?
Mm-hmm. And basically this is a conservative website. There's 100% chance that this is going to minimize that, because why would they bring up the fact that it's not in the Constitution if it weren't to minimize and say, look, it is okay to have religion and people of faith leading the country.
What did they say it was called?
That's a letter to the Danbury Baptist Church.
Danbury Baptist Church. Okay.
Yeah. So there's proof that he's a liar right there. We'll maybe I'll do another video and we'll watch that video together another day when I have some time. But
it's not in the poll. 57% said, yeah, we know it's unconstitutional. They mean establish a religion. Now you're trying to make it like that the Republicans don't actually mean that. So what do they mean when they say we want a Christian nation, not like the one that's in the Constitution?
Right. I don't know the constitutional part. This is brand new to me. So I can't answer it. I can only tell you that when Christians say they want a Christian nation, they want a nation that is governed by Christian moral principles and not the moral chaos that we see today. And I am a supporter of that notion.
Government means the state.
And I
but
don't
anyway,
believe
go ahead.
So
I'm sorry, I don't believe in Christ, just for the record. I am
Who
not
cares?
a Christian, and they are not forcing, and they never did force anybody to believe in Christ. Even when they were really
That's
in
irrelevant.
power, they never forced one American to accept Christ.
Okay,
That's a pretty
that's
damn
not true.
good record.
That's not
because it's
necessarily
not
true either.
constitutional. You're making it seem like they have.
No, wrong, Cenk. That's the wrong answer. That's not necessarily true. Because in a de facto sense, when you push a narrative onto a population, you are, in a way, forcing them to at least acknowledge that that viewpoint exists when you inundate someone with shit. This is why you added "In God We Trust." Yes, but what Dennis has done here is he has changed it. He's changed it. He's moved the goalpost. And he said, oh, they never made you accept Christ. That's a goalpost move. Accepting that God is above country is not that is where the bar is at. That you should believe in God and country, and that God and the United States are somehow interchangeable and indistinguishable from one another. That we are the new chosen people based on what it says in the Bible. So he's absolutely lying here, and he's moving the goalposts. And Cenk is not calling that out. He's not. And what he does here is he's going to go. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, hit it.
The option.
So I want to ask.
Well, wait a minute.
Okay,
wait,
go ahead.
you just said if they have power, you're afraid, correct?
Well, first of all,
Isn't
no,
that
I
the
didn't say
implication of
that.
what
But
you're saying?
I didn't say
Okay,
that. But
so I
Dennis,
hear you.
Dennis,
Right.
yeah, I'm worried that your dear leader Donald Trump doesn't believe in democracy. He's gonna. He said he had a system to put in fake electors. Now you got 61% of Republicans say, screw it, let's just be a Christian nation. Let's just stop basically be run by a Christian mullah. Okay, and so do you think Trump wouldn't say, I'm that mullah, and we're not?
Okay, this is the problem that I had when I watched this video, and this is where I turned it off. He's just fallen victim to what they're going to say is TDS. Argument's over. He went to Trump. He couldn't pass it up. It was too appetizing for him. Yes, they're hypocrites. We know that already. Our audience doesn't need to know that.
But
Dennis does.
He's not gonna defend himself though. He's a conservative. He doesn't like Trump, right?
No, I think he's a huge Trump fan.
Why would he be? He's a conservative. Trump's not conservative. So he won't feel like if I say this group of people are really shitty, and you're not part of that group of people, and you also think they're shitty, you're probably not going to jump up and defend them. So let's see if he defends them or not. That's a heavy volley against Trump and Trump fans. What does Dennis say in response?
Not having democracy, he'd do that in a second. You think that he cares about the rest of us? A lifelong con man who only cares about his own power and wealth. If you can't see that, Dennis, you're being purposely blind.
The man was president for 4 years. He was far more open than Joe Biden and the Democrats are, who are using the FBI to suppress dissent and who are using the New York Times and CNN. This is the least free America has been in its history.
How? Give me your evidence that we're less free.
You don't have none.
In terms of free speech and freedom of dissent. And
No.
I got blocked on Twitter. My free speech. Free speech.
I said that we should hate people of this color, and I got blocked, so I have no free speech. You fucking moron.
My free speech to trash somebody else's party.
You know what? I can't sexually harass a woman in the workplace. I am being censored.
It's dark days, Dutch. We're in dark days.
it's because of the Democrats and the left. Trump was in office.
Obama had taken classified documents from the White House home with him. And if the federal government with the DOJ gave him multiple chances, multiple opportunities to just return the classified top secret documents, and he didn't do it, and that led to a raid, would you be on this show right now providing cover for Obama? I'm genuinely curious. I want you to give me an answer.
If it were part of a systemic use by a Republican government of suppression of Democrats, I would damn well be on this program.
Liar.
He knows it'll never happen. He knows it'll never happen, so he feels 100% comfortable lying about that.
What's that line from Princess Bride? Liar.
Princess Bride.
Liar.
When?
Oh, Billy Crystal and his wife. When he says that he can't fix, isn't that Billy Crystal? Yeah. When he says he can't bring him
talking about-
back. Right. And she's like, Liar, you can bring him back.
I don't remember.
Miracle Max.
In Princess Bride?
Yeah. Miracle Max is from Princess Bride.
Which one's
Oh,
Miracle
no.
Max?
You know what? I think no, maybe that's not. Maybe that's A Never Ending Story. Where the
No.
lady who looks like that says that. Anyway, she goes, Liar, to the husband.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I do, and it's funny to me. We'll continue on.
Boo! Boo! Boo!
Well, that's from Princess Bride, right?
What I'm saying
He
that.
had every opportunity to just
not talking
return
about
the
Trump. I'm
documents,
talking
and he
about-
refused to do it. No one should be held above the law.
Look at Dennis. He's like, oh, okay, I can't get a word in edgewise on this show. I just keep talking the whole time, though.
But she
In
has,
my opinion.
but when she had, like, Trump took documents, that's black and white. He was rated for those documents. That he shouldn't have done that, right, Dennis? I don't want to talk about Trump.
No,
Oh,
but
now
how
you
did
don't? Oh, now you
again
don't.
though? Again. TYT. What the fuck?
Took the bait.
Anna asked you a question about white nationalism, and you started talking about immigration. You asked him a question about secularism, and now you're talking about documents.
The pivot, man. He's got that pivot foot on. He's like the Kevin McHale. He's got
It's
feet
okay.
work.
Like, it's okay to pivot for a second, but then steer it back.
I mean, I don't think that should be controversial. I don't care if it's a Democrat. I don't care if it's a leftist. I don't care if it's a Republican. You can't break the law repeatedly and just assume that you're entitled to be treated above the law. Why do you think
The
it's okay to
FBI
provide cover
the
for
FBI
criminality like that?
Let me tell you what every one of us who is a conservative believes.
Yeah, every one of you
knows.
All of them.
There are political prisoners in the United States for the first time in American
God,
history.
he's talking about
Because the
J6.
left is in power, and there is no instance in the history of the world since Vladimir Lenin of the left being in power and allowing dissent. It was liberals in power in the past with Democrats. Today it is leftists.
right?
Come on, let him go.
but
He's almost done.
But yeah, I suppose he's never heard of the internment camps.
There is a huge difference. I wrote of 32 differences between liberalism and leftism.
That's because classical liberalism is today's conservatism, and it always has been.
In a column that anyone can find on the internet. I'll give you one example. Leftists believe in all black dormitories like at Columbia University, where I
Wrong. You're giving one example, and he's giving one anecdotal example and citing that again as evidence for everything. And where's the evidence that the person who implemented that policy is what you would define as a leftist?
Bro,
went.
he went to
Liberals
college
do not
before
believe in all.
desegregation. That's not a liberal problem. Yeah, that was all of y'all. It had to go through the states.
Yeah, I'm sure that Dennis was really upset about the fact that there was a black dormitory and that they weren't in his dorm. He probably sat there and he was like, "Man, if only the brothers were in my dorm, dude. I wish we had more brothers."
That's why he got out of his dorm and he said, "I will dorm with the black kids. Thank you very much."
Yeah, that's what he did.
I'm a conservative and I appreciate diversity, so I will leave here and go to the room with no heat. Thank you.
That's right. That's what he did. Dennis
I
definitely
remember.
did that in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
All black dormitories. There is nothing in common between liberalism and leftism. Leftism is evil. Liberalism is honorable. And what we now have is the left doing what it always does, suppress dissent.
Yeah, that's absolute nonsense. Thanks for watching The Young Turks. We really appreciate it. Another way to show
that's not
support
the
is through
other one
YouTube
with Palestine.
memberships.
But we don't even have to play it if you're short on time.
No, you can hang out and do that one. I do gotta.
Oh, I'm gonna go eat
the family. But
I'm also
like,
gonna go eat. But hold on.
Hold on. That's his comeback. That's
Yeah.
where he leaves the conversation. That's preposterous, and then the video ends.
Yeah.
That's your big gotcha.
Yeah.
This was a pathetic fucking attempt at a conversation.
Told you. It's and then the part with Israel and Palestine is even worse because it's the same pivoting. Like whether I don't care where people stand on the Israel Palestine thing. If you want to cancel me for my opinions on it, I don't really care anymore. But the fact that when anyone tries to talk about the Israeli government, if anyone tries to talk about the Israeli government, they're automatically seen as anti-Semitic.
Right. That's a problem.
And that's exactly what Cenk went for.
Yeah.
It's the biggest, most obvious lure I've ever seen in my life, and Cenk fell for it.
Yeah, that is an issue. And I remember we talked about that when we had I think it was Anthony on. Is that his name? Andrew or Anthony? The kid from who does the pop culture show?
Andrew.
Andrew. And I mean, nice kid, conservative kid, but
he's not conservative. He doesn't know what he thinks.
Some weird views.
He thinks what the cool kids around him thinks.
Yeah. But I think we asked him that question, like, I am very critical of Israel. I also am not under any illusions that Hamas is a benevolent organization. Okay. So, but Hamas is a reactionary organization. They're reacting to
reacting to what?
Literal oppression.
Oh.
Their people live in a literal fucking police state. They've literally had their land taken from them. Does that mean that they are beyond all criticism? No, it doesn't, because we're still human beings, right? And every citizen of Israel is not guilty for its government's crimes.
Oh no, but you can't crise Netanyahu.
But,
you can't criticize Bennett. You can't criticize. No, because
you're right.
Then
Because
now you're anti-Semitic.
Yeah. No,
and you can't have your cake and eat it too. Because
you're not wrong.
I can't because at the same token, I am not Islamophobic.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't agree with Palestine killing Israelis, but I'm not anti-Semitic when I say that Israel is wrong for killing Muslims. Like, both of them can fucking kiss my ass if they're just both going to try to paint me into this. I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. I can look at your country's governments without your religious baggage attached to it. That's not your religion is your thing. I don't even care what your religion is. It's not important to me. How are you treating the citizens of your country?
Right.
Your city, your town, all that stuff. Like, how are people getting along? Do people have representation? Are people's rights secure?
Which Palestinians don't.
Are you committing war crimes?
Mm-hmm.
America, I'm looking at you too.
Right.
What kind of nation are you?
Right.
How do you treat people who can't give you anything back?
Right.
That's what's important. But as soon as you say Israel, Palestine, it turns into this, oh, well, why do you feel this way about my entire religion in Britain? No. Right. I'm talking about the military. I'm talking about the
right-wing Israeli government.
And then what's his face said, oh, it's not right-wing. It's not right-wing anymore.
Yes, they are. Sharon was right-wing. Netanyahu was right-wing. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. They have some tendencies where they're more liberal than us. Like, for example, Israel vaccine mandate all across the board. Everybody was fine with it for the most part. 90% vaccinated. But Christians,
the little country with the iron fist had 100% compliance in something. You don't say.
Yeah, but see, it's a very weird.
Everyone's conscripted at 18. What's that you say? They all complied. Huh?
It's a very weird dualism with Christians when it comes, because you have one sect of Christianity who worships Israel, like, oh, we have to go to the Holy Land. We have to. We have to support Israel and Democrats are like this too. They have to show me a Democratic president who's ever been against Israel. Not saying that we should. I'm just saying, show me one that's ever been there. Nobody has. There's a reason for that, because they know that Israel is very popular with Christians because they believe that they're fulfilling biblical prophecy by the country actually even being there. And next, they want to rebuild the temple on the site where right now the Dome of the Rock sits. Right. So, but you also have this other sect of Republicans who are hugely anti-Semitic and like Nazis, but they coexist somehow and vote for the same people
because they have a common enemy. The Muslims.
Yes, yes, and that's. But I do hear what you're saying when it comes to like the Israeli conversation. You're not wrong. A lot of times I'll be like, well, I'm critical of Israel for this. Why do you hate Jews?
Yeah.
Well,
and that's the pivot that they always try to get people to fall for. And I'm not going.
Right.
You can't.
I'm not falling for it either. I'm critical of Netanyahu.
I'm talking about national policies.
Right.
Acts of militaries.
Right.
You can't drag your religion into. You can't bring up your holy book and be like, but look.
But they do the same.
Put it down.
They do the same thing. Like if they were to come and say, you know, if a black person were to come to them and say, well, you can't criticize a black person for beating their wife because of slavery. They'd be like, look at these crazy people saying that we can't criticize people for beating wives.
Well, I mean,
but no, of course, no one says that. No one says that, but it's the same. It's the same type of idea.
I got a better one for you. How come it's always black on black crime and not Christian on Christian crime? Because black people are 87% Christian.
I've never heard that before, but that might be one of the fucking most brilliant things I've ever heard.
It's never Christian on Christian crime. It's always the N-word on N-word crime. And you know, that's just how they are.
The black community is more Christian than any other demographic in the country.
Yet they're still outcasts because, hey, I can still hang out with the neo-Nazis. And me, the neo-Nazis, the Mormons, and these Seventh-day Adventists, we can all.
The most segregated hour
Yeah.
in America is Sunday mornings.
All right. Well,
all right, brother.
I'm this is why I don't watch this shit, because they don't talk about nothing. And then you guys, you presenters, you YouTube personalities, you streamers, you Twitter spacers, you guys have to stop following for this. So I wrote down 3 things and then I'm going to shut up.
All right.
Mikey Fammon's rules of debate. Rule number 1, let them bury themselves. That means don't interrupt. Answer only what's asked, or else you will end up in these weird tangents where they will try to pull information out of you and then try to pivot and change the conversation. And number 3, don't speak Christianese. Don't speak Christianese is my phrase, which means if someone's speaking in a way that isn't the way that is proper, don't allow it at any level, because if you allow it at some level, you're saying it's okay. So if Dutch kept calling me Maddie Famine for the first 10 episodes, and after a while I just stopped correcting him, that's on me. I need to correct. We need to be speaking the same language since jump. So like if I'm arguing with Christians, they're telling me, but the earth is only 6,000 years old because da 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 da. In the Bible, like, okay, the Bible is your book. Do you have anything else that's like outside of that book? Well, I was like, okay, well, when you get that, you let me know. But I can show you right here in chapters. I'm not interested in that. I don't speak that language. I don't speak Christianese. You're going to have to speak science to me. You have to speak something outside of something that's outside of your influence. Like when fucking Buddy came on here with his anti-vax ass and he tried to send me to a website. And because remember, he's like, oh, it's been online. And
it's his website.
And it was his fucking website.
Yeah.
But he didn't expect for me to actually look the shit up on the spot. So get your citations. Don't speak their language. Answer only what's asked and let them bury themselves. Don't interrupt.
4th rule. Always tip your cheese truck driver. Thanks to those who've tuned in. We're out of here. We'll see you Wednesday. I don't know what the dig is going to be yet, but I'll figure it out in the next 2 days. No breaking barriers or left angle this week. We will have, I will probably go on Friday night alone, but Lindsay's having fun with the family. So I'll either get someone else or, she quit after 1 day with me. It was too much for her. That was too much. So we'll figure some out for Friday. And then Sunday, Lauren Hubbard and Brent will have a new candidate on the show. So tune in for all that. And don't forget to check Mikey out with his gaming at Mikey Famine. He's a real hoot.
I got someone for us to raid.
Okay.
A fellow Chicago native.
Are you going to do it or you want me to do it?
You have the thing set to your number. I can't log in.
Oh yeah. I'll give you, contact me afterwards. I'll get you
Well, it's going to ask me every time.
The
and I won't be able to-
No, it only asks you once.
Oh, once a month. I think it's once a month. So we'll be good.
Where is Twitch? There it is. Okay, so
Make sure
please
all
stay
you
with us
YouTube
for a
people-
second while we.
People. Twitch people hang out for the raid.
Yeah,
And,
YouTube people, you can go.
YouTube people, you stay classy, San Diego.
We love you.
You stay
All right.
classy.
What channel?
It's in the private chat.
Oh,
A fellow Chicagoan.
so okay. I might have to. There he is. All right, guys, 10 seconds for the raid. Please hold on with us while we do this. It's 4, 3, 2, 1, now. All right, it's done. All right, brother. And broadcast.